NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act, that Obama has called for and signed, stipulates that even American citizens can now be targeted by the military, picked up, and imprisoned.
I have decided we really need camps for adults.
Why are you outside during this entire hurricane? Well, I chose not to go outside yesterday because the Salvation Army and Russian Winds homeless shelter where they were accepting people were caught killing everybody that was in there. Were caught killing everybody that was in there. Were caught killing everybody that was in there. All right.
Take that to the proverbial bank. Then we need to worry about why this mall space is important. Malls are not going to go away, even though a third of the businesses in the retail space may open up. And why do you say that's true? Well, because we learned in 2015 during the Jade Helm exercise, Jade Helm 15, the martial law exercise, we found that new mall construction across the country look like FEMA camps. You look here at the pictures. Guard towers everywhere. Why do new malls, like the one you see below in Tucson, why does it need such high guard towers? Why are they 50, 100 feet tall? Why do they occupy the corners? You'll see an aerial shot here in the collage of the Twin Peaks Mall north of Tucson, in the Marana, Arizona area, and you'll see these guard towers at every key point in the mall. These guard towers surround the mall. Why? Well, let's look at something else that's taken place since 2012. In 2012, DHS and Simon Properties, the largest owner of strip malls and malls in North America, signed an agreement. And basically, Simon said, you can use our malls for a price in times of national emergency. Well, not only did DHS make the deal for the malls, they also made the deal with every major league sports program, every arena, every stadium, everywhere where they play athletics in a large venue. Those venues have a deal with DHS to become impromptu FEMA camps. We saw that during Hurricane Katrina with the Louisiana Superdome. So what we're looking at now is the fact that these particular malls that are being constructed post-2015 are being constructed in the mode of a FEMA camp. Look at the pictures, folks. I've consulted with architects, afraid to go on the record because they don't want to lose future contracts, But I've consulted with them, and what they tell me to a person is the design here is not aesthetic, it serves no purpose, and also it's expensive. It drives up the retail cost of building these. Why would they do such a thing? Well, I just told you why. Simon Properties and DHS. You have nothing to worry about as long as Donald Trump is president. If Donald Trump is deposed in 2018, Katie barred the door, and we're going to find out what the Jade Helm drills were really all about.
In the United States Southwest by U.S. Army Special Operations. It will involve over 1,200 persons from Army Special Forces, Navy SEALs, U.S. Marines, and others from July 15th to September 15th, 2015. Taking place in California, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, Colorado, and it seems to be a special emphasis inside of Texas. In the exercise, Utah, Texas, and Southern California are marked as hostile territory. Concerns have been raised regarding the unprecedented scale of this exercise and the threat of martial law. The motto for Jade Helm is "Master the Human Domain," and the logo featured 2 arrows, a sword, and a wooden shoe. The wooden shoe is theorized to symbolize sabotage, which was corroborated by a representative answering questions on Jade Helm Monday, April 27th in Bastrop, Texas. Full video is available. Some think the shoe is premonition for internment camps, as many prisoners in Nazi Germany camps were given wooden clogs. Because of the exercise and resulting hysteria, citizen efforts to document the military equipment transport and appearance in America has severely ramped up. Recent simultaneous Walmart closings are also being tied in as very suspicious. Translate Jade Helm in Google Translator from Hebrew recommends a phrase that translates as West Shock. What some are thinking is the collapse of the US dollar and rise of China and the East.
And we've been doing real good here in America for a long time, but it's time to do something else, so we're going to build up China and India, and we'll just let America sink into the desert, because no one really cares about America anymore. It's, there's not a lot of shekels to be made anymore. As they say, you can't get blood out of a stone, and we've gotten as much blood out of this stone as we're going to get.
Powerful statement. The title of this video is a quote from the ICE agent who took his own life on a pier in New York in 2016. This is a quote from his letter. So I'll read the letter and then I'll show you the article, okay, you guys? So now that we see what's going on in 2018, we can read his suicide note with new eyes. The America I grew up in and cherished has been murdered by its own federal government. Our Constitution has become meaningless and our laws politicized so badly they are no longer enforced except for political purposes. Our elected officials are, to a person, utterly corrupt and completely devoid of any love or respect for the country which pays them. To them, everything is about getting and keeping power and making illicit money from backroom deals. I was hired to enforce the law, to capture and deport people who come to this country against our laws. But now, if I dare to do that, I face being suspended or fired because our president refuses to faithfully execute the duties of his office. And I believe it was Obama the president then? Instead, I come to work each day and collect a paycheck twice a month for intentionally doing little to nothing. I cannot and will not be a party to this fraud, to this usurpation of the law, or to the despicable politicians betraying our nation. Now, okay, he seems like a disgruntled employee. Listen to this next part of his suicide note. If the American people knew what this government was planning, they would rise up and overthrow it. If I or anyone else in the federal government revealed what is coming, we would be killed anyway. So now I will reveal what I know. We, in federal law enforcement, have been drilling for several years to control riots and uprisings from a coming financial collapse and widespread bank failures. The drills involve life-sized images of American men, even women and children, whom we are told to shoot for practice and get used to it. We have been told that the economy is terminally ill and will fail in 2016. We are also told the banks are all insolvent and the FDIC doesn't have nearly enough funds to bail out depositors. We are told these events are unavoidable and it is imperative that the government survive when the people rise up over this. It is imperative that the government survive when the people rise up over this. What's that tell you? They know that we are gonna raise hell when they do this reset. And they've been preparing. When the collapse takes place, detention camps created under the FEMA Rex 84 program in the 1980s to house illegal aliens whom we were going to deport will instead be used to imprison American citizens whom the government feels constitute a threat. American citizens will be rounded up without warrants and imprisoned without a trial for God knows how long. These camps have been equipped to carry out Hitler-scale killings and an actual purge of American citizens by the very government which they themselves created and pay for. And I cannot be a party to this. Is this what Mr. Patriot's been warning me about? He's been telling me people like me, the Patriots, the YouTubers with the loud voice, they're gonna take us first, right before the grid goes down, or the internet shuts off, or right before it gets kicked off. The government knows the military will rise up to stop this. Our military is being deployed overseas and intentionally involved in foreign fights so they cannot be here to help Americans. This is why certain ammunition and weaponry has been removed from state-level National Guard armories, and over 1 billion rounds of hollow point ammunition have been bought by the federal government. The states themselves have been disarmed of military-grade firepower so they cannot defend themselves from the federal activities. This is also why local police departments have been militarized and provided with armored vehicles and weapons of war, the notice. When the inevitable collapse begins to take place, electric power to the entire country will be shut off, as will all forms of communication. All banks will be immediately closed. No one will be able to get any money because all the ATMs will be offline. Credit, debit, and EBT cards will not function. Anyone without cash will have no way to get any. The emergency alert system will be used to take over all broadcast stations and tell the public that this is a result of a cyber attack. But while the American people patiently await things to get back to normal, the government...
The emergency alert system that Donald Trump just made sure was working properly and they did their testing on. Yes, Donald Trump is fully on board with all of that.
Will unleash roundups of citizens they deem militants or dangerous, with all civilian communications out and all TV and radio stations taken over by the emergency alert system. By the time word spreads of what is taking place, the government will already have the upper hand. Every federal prison has been outfitted with lethal gas systems. When things go bad, all prisoners in all prisons will be placed in their cells on lockdown. Prison staff will depart the facility, and certain designated person will trigger a lethal gas system. All federal prisoners, regardless of their crime or their sentence, will be gassed to death in their cells. Once the gas clears, the dead will be removed, and the prisons will then be used to house citizens who fight against the federal onslaught. So intent is the government to succeed that they have recruited priests, rabbis, and clerics from various religions to quote appropriate scriptures about obeying government. They are being trained to tell people not to fight back and that their best hope is to pray. Executive Order 13603 about National Defense Resources.
Executive Order 13603. Bear that in mind if you are into gematria at all. 13603. all the good numbers right there.
This is preparedness. This 10-page document is a blueprint for a federal takeover of the economy. Specifically, Obama's plan involves seizing control of all commodities and products that are capable of being ingested by either human beings or animals, all forms of energy, all forms of civil transportation, all usable water from all sources, health resources, drugs, biological products, medical devices, materials, facilities, health supplies, services, equipment, forced labor, as the executive order delicately refers to military consumption. Moreover, federal officials would issue regulations to prioritize and allocate these resources. We in federal law enforcement have also been told that the government has a full database of all so-called preppers. These people will be dealt with first by armed federal agents coming to take their guns, their food stocks, so food can be redistributed as the government sees fit. And that's all.
They're just going to take your stuff. They're not going to redistribute anything. If anyone has learned anything from the past, they just come and take it. They have amassed all of their wealth and their power and their control by taking it. They will never redistribute it. They don't redistribute their power, and they're not going to redistribute any of the things they steal from you.
A lot of enslavement going on. You see the map that I have included here. Do you see the outlined shading on the edges of the lower 48? And then also look at the inset box, and you'll see that Hawaii and Alaska also have large constitutional free zones. In fact, virtually the entire Hawaii Islands is constitutional free, which means there ain't no constitution. Now, if you look at this map here, you can see that as you travel into the country, the government can do anything they want with regard to search and seizure in the shaded area. And you can see here the entire state of Florida, half of Georgia, half of South Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, and all of Maine, basically all of New England, except for a small little stretch, is a constitutional free zone. And you can see that nowhere on the beach cities, if you go for your California vacation, you can see that you are in a constitutional free zone. And here in the state that I live in, the Constitution Free Zone almost extends as far north as the south part of Phoenix in Pinal County. Now, here's what this means. This is what they can do to you. You're traveling down the road and you're in your Greyhound bus, and then the Border Patrol pulls you over. They can search every person. They can search their luggage. They can ask them questions like, what country are you from? And if someone says, I'm an American citizen, I don't have to answer that question unless I'm being charged with something. Am I being charged? And they said, no, but if you want to continue down the road, this is what you're going to do, or we will detain you. And now it's coming out of these constitutional free zone checkpoints throughout the United States in a place called Bangor, Maine. They have now carried out the practice of saying, and they admitted this to 2 reporters, that if you have an accent, that's reason for suspicion. Whoa, wait a minute here. We have millions of legal residents. We have millions more who've come to the country and become citizens the right way, and they're suspected of something wrong because they dared have an accent? This is Nazi Germany. See, this is encroachment. I want you to look back at the map that's here again. Please look at it carefully. I want you to look at this like cancer. It used to be the entire country was a constitutional zone. Now they're just taking away your rights on the border. When does it become something else? And your constitutional free zone expands into one day it looks like you've got stage 4 cancer, geographically speaking. How far are we going to let them go with this? This is America. This is why I say to people, They're going to continue to do this because this is deep state stuff. Donald Trump did not bring this here. This practice precedes Donald Trump, and it got a big boost when Barack Obama was the president.
I'm sorry, but I don't want to be an emperor. That's not my business. I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise one another. In this world there's room for everyone, and the good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful, but we have lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent, and all will be lost. The aeroplane and the radio have brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out for the goodness in men, cries out for universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is reaching millions throughout the world, millions of despairing men, women, and little children, victims of a system that makes men torture and imprison innocent people. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish. Soldiers, don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, and what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men, machine men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines, you are not cattle, you are men. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate, only the unloved hate, the unloved and the unnatural. Soldiers, don't fight for slavery, fight for liberty. In the 17th chapter of St. Luke it is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world. A decent world that will give men a chance to work, that will give youth a future and old age a security. By the promise of these things, brutes have risen to power, but they lie. They do not fulfill that promise. They never will. Dictators free themselves, but they enslave the people. Now let us fight to fulfill that promise. Let us fight to free the world, to do away with national barriers, to do away with greed, with hate and intolerance. Let us fight for a world of reason, a world where science and progress will lead to all men's happiness. Soldiers, in the name of democracy, let us all unite!